Happy Saturday and welcome to the Ramashram Satsang Weekend Workshop, where you will learn a modern Satsang method for obtaining peace, light, and love in your life. My name is Shivangi, and I will be introducing the facilitator for today's event. But first, I would like to give you a brief overview to this Satsang session. If you'll direct your attention to the screen, you will see that the first element is Satsang. Satsang is a scientific method whereby we may obtain peace, light, and love in our lives. It requires no physical skill, spiritual accomplishment, or meditation experience to begin this practice. Satsang consists of two words, Sat and Sang. Sat means positive energy, and Sang means to be with or to be in the presence of. Therefore, the word Satsang means to be in the presence of positive energy. The next element is meditation. Meditation is an important part of satsang. When we meditate, our consciousness is drawn from worldly objects and directed inward to focus on a single thought. In doing so, our minds become calm and our thoughts become pure, leading us to higher states of consciousness such as enlightenment, peace, light, and love. Inner orientation. There are two types of satsangs, inner satsang and outer satsang. An example of outer satsang would be chanting or attending pilgrimages. When we practice outer satsang, we have the potential to change our behavior, but it is only through the practice of inner satsang can we obtain higher states of consciousness such as enlightenment, peace, light, and love. This is the type of satsang we will learn today where we meditate in silence. Group sessions. These weekend workshops are structured for group participation. When we meditate as a group, our focus is improved and our personal progress along our spiritual path is expedited. By regularly attending these weekend workshops, the benefits of group participation are amplified. Joy and inner happiness. All beings wish to experience joy. Joy is the eternal longing of the soul, but it is only through the practice of inner satsang can we obtain a joyous state. Each time we practice satsang, our inner happiness gradually increases, ultimately culminating in a state of joy that we experience 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Next, the agenda for today's session consists of three parts: the informative session, the practice session, and the interactive session. During the informative session, a lecture will be given about a satsang topic, the founder, or some relevant spiritual topic. During the practice session, instructions on how to meditate will be given, followed by a period of practice. During the interactive session, you will have the opportunity to ask questions or there will be a panel discussion. And now, I would like to introduce the facilitator for today's event. He has over 40 years of satsang experience. He is the grandson of Guru Maharaj, the founder of Ramashram Satsang. He was born into a satsang family where he witnessed his family members obtaining states of enlightenment and live lives of peace, light, and love. At an early age, he began traveling with the mission throughout India, facilitating satsangs. During that time, he witnessed the positive effects that satsang could have on mankind. Upon arriving in the United States, both he and his wife continued to facilitate satsangs for local satsangis. He has led teams of satsang members in translating important satsang literature into English and has worked tirelessly to make satsang more accessible to Western and English speaking audiences. He currently travels throughout the United States, India, and England, facilitating satsangs while maintaining his duties as a husband, a father, and an IT executive. Today, he will teach us a rare and ancient form of satsang as taught by our Guru Maharaj. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Sanjeev Kumarji and his daughter Parul.
So, Parul, are you on?
Yep. Hey everyone, thanks for joining our session. So I'll start with our topic and then pass it on to Dad. So I had a thought about, it's going to be short and sweet today, but it's about letting go, surrender, and freedom. So the thought that came to me is that we need to just let it all go. So the mind and the ego are often going to play tricks on us. So our job is to process things and let them go. Let go of the heavy emotions, let go of the heartbreak, let go of the anger, let go of the betrayal, let go of the grudges, let go of the pain, let go of the resentment, let go of the control, let go, let go, let go. So, surrender is a major part of our spiritual journey. And it's because, for the sake of your own soul, you deserve a clean slate and a cleaner vessel and the cleanest heart. So, holding on to things is only hurting you in the end. And the mind and the ego will play games. They know where we feel the need to emotionally invest more, to internalize other people's thoughts and actions, to feel the need to retaliate or hold on, because we still can't find it in ourselves to forgive. But actually, what if forgiveness comes naturally when we finally just let it go? Holding on to it so hard is what holds us back from what is so natural for the soul, which is freedom. Your soul wants to get back to its natural state of freedom, and freedom from other people's perceptions and the limitations of your own mind, and just freedom in general. So there's so much gunk in the way of that that we don't get to freedom, which ultimately leads to peace. And freedom is about having direct connection with, whatever you choose to believe in, universe, highest self, guru, God. And that freedom is about having that direct connection with that source, hearing that highest self, acting on those inspirations with no distractions, no other people getting in the way, no thoughts getting in the way. So, this path is about coming back to wholeness and oneness. But a big part of that is reaching, feeling, and embodying the true essence of freedom. It's about taking your what are perceived to be clipped wings in so many areas of your lives and realizing that they were never clipped at all, and that you're completely free to be, who you want to be, and to reach those highest states of consciousness. And in all areas, coming back to that feeling of freedom, like taking those burdens off of yourself and coming back to your true essence. So that's just my food for thought today. And I'll pass it on to my dad.
All right. That's a tough topic. Um, Easier said than done. I think if letting go was easy, I think this process that we practice would be very easy. And it's, in a way, it is easy, but in a way, it's, to have a consistent practice, deep practice, and to really um, give in to it. So, the way I think about letting go is to, you know, how the caterpillar becomes a butterfly, has to give up what it was to become what would be. And that's what we are trying here. So let's get into it. Um, Eyes lightly closed, and still and relaxed posture. And talking about still and relaxed posture, and eventually getting into deep silence. I was trying to write an article yesterday, and um, my father had spoken about two levels of silence. So, first, which is in itself, he was saying it was easier, but I think it's for us, just, um, silence of words, just outer silence is the first level. But then he described the real deep silence comes when your inner silence happens, which is when your thoughts and uh, stop disturbing your inner self. So that's what we would like to achieve here. And typically, uh, first, to get to outer silence, and you know we just close our eyes, we're sitting still, so that outer stillness should bleed into the inner stillness. And so before we go there, we'll transition with music, which helps concentration. And, inner orientation uh, requires these two things, that we are still, bodily still, relaxed, and eyes are lightly closed. But then to bring inner stillness from barrage of thoughts, we should come to one thought. And typically that's an activity. Guru Maharaj said that let's not do that. Let's just observe. Let's not even chant or, so while traditional satsang, there is a prayer to start with. So at least that helps concentration. Here, we just do that with music. But inner stillness requires that we bring our mind to one thought and then somehow drop that as well and let that go as well. So that one thought is of, you know, uh, let's create the most positive, uplifting backdrop that we can. Think of this transcendental energy in form of light, uh, emitting from, a conscious source, and this light is entering our heart, distributing throughout our body, and we are getting completely and totally immersed in it. So when mind wanders away, which it will, because it wants, to just one thought after another is the second nature right now. What we do is bring it to one thought and one thought alone, and that is to observe this light which is entering our heart, enlightening it, and then distributing throughout the body, and we are becoming one with this light. If mind wanders away, just keep bringing it back, and music will help. So we'll start with music. The music fades away, we go into deep silent meditation, and then we transition out to music again. Let's start. Happy Saturday, everyone. Um, um, the topic today is very interesting. So how do you let go? Hi, Christy.
Hello.
How are
Hi
you?
everyone. I'm okay, thank you. I wasn't going to talk straight away. I just thought I'd put my camera on in hopes that everyone else would. But that was a very powerful meditation today. I I don't know, I just really felt the collective, all the energy from everyone, and it felt really beautiful. Um, I managed to just be peaceful today. No thoughts crept in, which was really lovely. And as the music played at the end, I started to think about Parul's topic. Hi, Parul. And we were speaking earlier in the week about letting go of friendships that have hurt us and forgiveness. And there's still a couple of people in my life that I still need to completely forgive. And it's something I truly want to do because I think to forgive others is also for ourselves as well. To for our souls to be at complete peace and also for that freedom that Parul was speaking about. So it's just given me that extra push to just work on it a little bit more this week and truly let go.
So, you know, what you were talking about, forgiving and letting that go. Um, Actually, true story. I know someone has been in satsang for a very, very long time. Shares this story. This, you know, eh, like has done that multiple times, and uh, basically, we go through various phases um, of anger. For one reason or the other, and uh, he was caught up in it for, I think it was more than a couple of years, and very intense, very consuming, and again wasn't able to forgive. And then somehow a satsang effect or some blessing, he was able to do that. And what he was saying was that, you know, then he started like a morning ritual where he would get up and forgive everybody and ask for forgiveness. And once he was able to do that, he said the peace that came with it was just such a, huge effect.
Exactly. I mean, I've over the last 11 months while I've been coming to satsang, I have managed to forgive many people who really hurt me when my mum passed. So it is very freeing because it made my grief so much worse. And I just felt worse about everything, to be honest, that the betrayal and the hurt. I had anger as well, but I think it was the hurt that really, it was eating me up inside. And that's just not an extra emotion that we need to be feeling. We all have so much going on in our lives, and it's hard work to forgive. It's hard healing work, but it's so worth it. It really is. And I just think it helps take us to that next level as well.
Yeah.
Forgiveness is one of the really hard things. But if you can do that, I think you could conquer probably anything. So,
For my, I mean, I have repeated this multiple times, but I just like that example so much that my father talked about, that you have three phases of your inner self. The first one is when you're a stone. And he said, like, when you put that stone in the sun, it heats up. So that's your world. And when you put in cold water, that satsang, it, cools down, comes back to the world, heats up again, take it to satsang, cools down again. But, it flip flops. And that's phase one, which we, go to church or temple, and, you feel better, or you do some activity and, kirtan or whatever, and, helps, and then back to normal. And we all experience that. And then he said the second stage is that your inner self becomes a cotton ball, and it soaks up the water. And when you put it back in the sun, so when you go back to the world, you're still soaked up with this positive energy and this uplifting energy, and that continues to work. That, I think, in satsang, this phase two comes fairly quickly, and you know, and but the third phase, which probably comes for very few, I think, but that is where letting go really becomes real. And I have not. I mean, for me, that was the best example. Uh, Not just letting go, but the best example of surrender. Surrender in English, the connotation is I'm surrendering, or I'm giving up something, or I'm, you know, uh, to me, the connotation is not very positive. But the example he gave is like you become like a salt or sugar, and you mix it in water, there is no salt or sugar left. And that's when the letting go really happens, when you take the form of this infinite. So from limited to unlimited, from, something that has, that has one entity versus a much deeper, broader, more powerful entity become. So letting go actually does that, third phase. But letting go is extremely difficult. My experience of, observing thousands of satsangis and the world in general, it just does not happen. Why? Because ego comes in the way, and ego, has very, forms that we see every day, which can be really, really weird. But ego, even in its best form, keeps us from letting go. So I'll pause here.
Just one more thing, but one of the ways that I managed to forgive some of my family members, there were two people, is I imagined like a soup, and I was thought to myself, what can help me truly forgive, not just forgive for while I'm doing this meditation and this session, and then I go back to feeling upset again. What will really help? And I wrote down a list, and I had compassion, understanding first, to try and work out why they acted the way they did. And you really have to dig deep to be able to do that. And it took me many goes. But once you start to gain an understanding, then you start to get the compassion, and it does make it a little bit more easier. And then you have to work out why you reacted how you did to what they did to you, and if there was any way that you could have changed how things worked out. So that's the way to drop your own ego. But it wasn't a quick fix. So every day I got my soup and I worked on it every single day. And it took maybe 4 months, 4 whole months of daily practice. And it's not easy. It can really hurt, but it really helped. And then, like you said, once you let go, it feels incredible. And you do feel like you've ascended somehow and that you've connected to your higher self how you should. So I just wanted to share that little tip. Make soup, everyone.
Hey, Steve.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, just there's a book by Robin Sharma. He wrote a book called The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari. I think was his first book, and he's written another book called The 5 a.m. Club.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
And he says you should spend the first hour in 20-minute segments exercising, in meditation, and then learning something new. And Parles talk about letting go of emotion reminded me of he has these 4 sets: mindset, heart set, health set, and soul set. And just controlling your emotions, especially negative emotions, ties in very closely with that heart set. And when those things are in balance, we can be at our best. But just that's where it took my mind is to that.
Yep.
So hard to. We're all very emotional. We're all very prideful, I think. So it's hard to let go of emotion.
Yeah, I finished the 5 a.m. Club last summer, actually. I love his work. I think he's really good. He's a really good writer. Yeah, but I love his sets. It's like take care of every single area and then you'll see like a transformation. But
Parul,
yeah,
talking about the sets, like the book that I'm writing,
yeah,
I didn't call them sets. It is 4 volumes. And as Guru Maharaj's process starts with the mind, so the first volume is mental resilience. And then he says that mental resilience you can utilize in 2 different directions. One is to fix your physical wellness. So that's your, vitality. And then if you go up, it's ego, self-awareness, and yourself. So that is like being your authentic self is the 3rd volume. And then all that, if that is, taken care of, which is like, uh, I think, a tall order. And then finally you transform others, or you serve, or through service, you're transforming others. So basically you first fix here, then you fix your physical self, then you fix yourself. And that's the, call it inner self or whatever, the self itself. And then you're ready to do what your purpose is. That's when you really do what you need to
yeah, I love that. I was actually thinking like when I said let go, like let everything go, because I feel like when the mind comes in, you want to process everything over and over and over. And something that helped me was realizing that whether it's a person or a thing or whatever it is, it's a disconnection from source. And we're here to like reconnect fully and become one. So anything that's in the way of that is separate, is ego, is that disconnection. So even like going past the thoughts and the processing, because I think there's a time period where processing is really important. But then it gets to a point where it might be the mind and the ego playing a game. So then it's like, okay, is this a disconnection happening? And this is the thing that is stopping me. And then that's what's I feel like has helped me over the past couple months.
Yep. It's no, actually, Mahimaji and I were exchanging something, and she was talking about, problems. You either solve the problem or leave the problem. Don't live in the problem. And I'm saying, how do I perceive a problem is a problem itself, because uh, it's like what you're talking about, processing. So when I'm connected, I may not perceive that problem. And the problem is the disconnection. So what you're saying, we were just exchanging notes on that. Very interesting. Hi, Luz. How are you?
Good morning or good afternoon, depending on where you are. Happy Saturday. It's very hard for me to add to any of what has already been said. It's already been said what was in my heart and what I was thinking, especially what Christy said about forgiveness. I've struggled with this as well, and I find that the um, the most effective way is to, yes, have compassion, to be honest, and to be understanding, even when it's challenging, right? Like sometimes there's reasons, and you can understand the reasons. Oh, this person was going through that. But sometimes it's like you're struggling to find reasons. But even then, just like, well, even just the way the person is, you can have compassion. Like, oh, let's just say, because there's a bit of judgment that goes on here, right? Like, let's say someone hurt you and there's no remorse, right? And there's, abusive tendencies, right? And let's say, like, oh, well, they had a perfect life, like, you're thinking they had a good parents or whatever, like there's no reason why they should be this way, but just the fact that they are that way is a reason to feel for them, like, because their hearts haven't been touched yet, they haven't been moved yet, they haven't been transformed yet. So you can still have compassion in any situation. And I think it really it does make it easier to like forgive. That doesn't mean that you should put yourself in like bad situations, but it does mean it is always possible to understand and to have compassion. And and it brings me back to something that Parul said I don't remember when, a couple weeks ago, a couple months ago. Somebody said, I think it was Pearl, it was like, when we leave this world, we don't take our possessions, but we also don't take people. What we take is our energy. So it's like paramount to cultivate pure positive energy. And if you're still hanging on to like hurt and pain, regret, like, you're not going to be at peace.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, that actually reminds me, Dad, remember when we watched the Testament of Moses on Netflix?
Mm-hmm.
And the Pharaoh he was taking the Israelites out, right?
Yeah, Moses.
Yeah, so Moses is speaking to God, and God is giving him directions, and he's like the messenger. And basically, he's told that the Pharaoh's heart is hardened, and that's why he can't listen to what God is saying, because he believes he has his own Egyptian gods and all these things. And then Miriam, his wife, so he's talking to his wife, and he's like, "Oh, I don't understand what's happening with the Pharaoh. He's not listening, blah, blah, blah." And then Miriam's like, "Don't harden your heart too." And that just stuck with me, because even just him saying something about the Pharaoh was him hardening his heart. The Pharaoh's heart is already hardened, so he can't change. But if Moses goes down to that level, he's going to harden his heart, and then he's going to disconnect. So that's what I took out of, if you guys want to watch it, it was the Testament of Moses on Netflix. And it was beautiful. And I was like, wow, like our job is to just keep our heart soft and pure and not stoop down to these other levels that the world is always trying to get us to.
Which is an interesting thing in itself. But that's what happens, right? Satsang is to be with the higher self, but the opposite is to what we actually do. So all the time, what are we doing? It's like even our own negative thoughts, the world is throwing things at us, and the end result is the opposite effect of satsang. Yeah, very interesting. So Mahimaji is saying one more thought here, helping us letting go is to understand and practice the observing, the drashta 24/7, where we are just the viewers, not just of the world itself, but our own thoughts, emotions, and reactions. So I think I was reading in one of the Buddhist practices, what they do is just observe in a quote unquote non-judgmental way. And I was like, yeah, that's nice. If we could do that.
What's the difference between like observing and non-judgment? Like, you know how like I feel like it's
No. So they are so connected together. They're probably, you can look at them as two separate concepts, but they come along together. Because if you are a true observer, that itself makes you become detached. So people say, like, what is detachment and how do I detach and all that? It's like, hey, just observe. Once you start observing, you are not what is being observed.
Mhm.
You are now, even if you're watching your own thoughts, you have detached yourself from your thoughts. Interesting. And this, humans have this capability of observing from what is within, um, and
So why do you think that like observations become judgments so fast?
okay, so that's another set of theories, and maybe Arvindji is talking about something here, and he can describe what neuroscience is talking about. Is and a very 10,000-foot view is your mind is a very small part of your body, but takes 1/5 of the energy. And to conserve energy is a very inbuilt mechanisms within our system. So what do? You come to reflex actions. So very quickly come to a decision. Fight and flight is the extreme versions, but even otherwise, you want to come to a quick decision so you conserve energy. And what does that do? Make you judgmental. Biases are us. It's inbuilt in us. So if somebody says I'm not biased, I'm like, okay, yeah, right. So, it's how we are configured. Now, when you count to 10, when you take a walk, when you meditate, when you do breathing exercises, what you have done is you engage another part of the brain. So if you say, hey, I'm not taking this reaction of yours, I would rather go to my wiser part, or where there is some analysis that can be done. Arvindji, am I on the right track here?
Pujabhay, Namaskar. Happy Saturday, everybody. I'm just fortunate to be here. And I was just thinking, people get drunk and they feel woozy, and I just get drunk on this satsang. It's just so blissful. No, you're absolutely you hit it on the nail. I mean, I was just thinking of two examples, as Parampuji Papaji used to say, be like the lotus flower that can grow in mud and dirt on this earth, mud of this earth, dirt of this earth, and you can still be like the lotus flower and not let things stick to you, sort of. So that's one example. And then Parampuji Panditji Maharaj's other example was that if somebody brings you a gift of some sort, and that gift could be a nice gift or a not so nice gift, regardless, if you refuse to accept that gift, you just
Oh,
give
no.
it back. You're not letting it affect
Oh,
your
wow.
self, your
Oh,
zeitgeist, your gestalt. You're not. So that just examples that I remember from childhood. That's all. And so
so you're saying return to sender.
yeah,
Was,
return to sender.
wasn't that a
That's another one.
song that we used to hear?
And we used to listen to that song. Yeah, return to sender.
Return to sender. Oh, gosh.
Well, that's so good. We need an article on that one.
Right.
Sender.
Return to sender. Okay. Next Substack article is return to sender. Wow.
Yeah, that is so good though. Like let things like float off your back. It doesn't have to go inside at all. It doesn't have to go in
Yeah.
your
So
thoughts,
let's
in your heart.
let's take it to the next level. Become Teflon. Wow, we're in the flow today. Wow.
This was great. Well, I have to go get Sheena.
So, so should we talk a little bit about extending this community into our virtual community on the new website that Shweta is helping in lots of different ways to bring it together. So before she comes on to talk about it, so we have this new website, home.ramashram.org, and just so I took the subdomain as home, just to emphasize that this is our home. And so there are a bunch of things there, but what we really wanted to talk about, like join the community, and we just spent months and months on this. I don't know why, but we just, the look and feel we didn't like, then some of the features we didn't like, and we just kept rolling. And Shweta has been on it, like has spent so many late nights and whatever. So this community will have activities like challenges, they call it, participate in some. So one of the challenges I'm thinking about is like, okay, so do we really meditate every day, or you're like me? And then like meetups. So it has a Zoom-like capability within the community. So we'll probably test drive it. And then we're thinking about some volunteer activities that will kick off. This is just the landing page. This is the Substack newsletter that is now running pretty nicely. And so Shweta, you want to talk about this?
Sada Pranam here. Namaskar, everyone. You are pretty much there, Bhaiya. You want to just show, probably, or should I take it over?
So
Yeah,
we have
you just go in
created
there.
we have created this worldwide community where you have a welcome page, you have a challenges page and a meetup page. There is a hub where I think probably Shweta, you'll have to describe that. And then there is so various areas where this is talking about like what steps you have to do once you get there, like complete your profile and introduce yourself to others, and watch a video, download the mobile app, which I think eventually will be a nice thing to have for all of us. And we'll make announcements here and so on and so forth. And this worldwide would have like, circles that we can be in. So initially we will just start with one, and then there is a course here, so there will be a circle for the course, and volunteers will have another circle of their own. So yeah, Shweta, you want to take it from here?
Yeah. Let me quickly share my screen. Yeah, sharing is not turned on.
Well, so Yuan,
Yeah, I can share now. I think you all can see. So as Bhaiya was mentioning, so once we register to the community, this is what you come into. So this is kind of a first step when you get into the community. This is what you will see. We have pinned up couple of announcements which guides you to the